Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we are gonna do the game week 25, the blank and double game week 25 deadline stream. Right, so thank you guys for coming early, those of you who are already tuned in, and those of you who are watching it. I'm guessing this is quite late in the evening for some of the guys in the UK, and quite late at night for some of the guys in Asia, but hopefully we still can do some discussions here and basically prepare ourselves well for game week 25 and the game weeks beyond as well. So we'll wait for more people to stream in, but there's quite a bit of content to cover today, or at least I've prepared quite a bit surrounding a lot of the major topics for game week 25. So most of it I would assume would surround whether we captain Saka or Salah, and that's going to be a big decision right now. As you guys can see on the screen right now, I have Salah captain, right? But later on, I'm going to present some statistics, and basically we're going to take a look at how they compare in terms of stats, and also do a little bit of the eye test and see try and decipher who is the best captaincy option between Saka and Salah. Right, so that's where we are at in terms of content for captaincy this week. There's also a little bit of chip strategy discussion that we're gonna do because the game week 29 fixtures have been announced already. So the double game week 29 announcement, double game week 29 is going to be the biggest double game week of the season. Right, so we'll cover all this in greater detail in a bit. Right, so wait for more people to stream in. Thank you, Magical Man 16, for coming early. I took a -8 to bring in Nunes for Mitrovic and Mahrez for KDB. Mahrez for KDB. Would you not have done Salah in for KDB though? Took a -8 to bring in Nunes for Mitrovic is fine. Right, Mahrez for KDB. I would have done Salah actually, but if you already have him, I may have gone for a doubler. Right, but let's see. Right, so couple of interesting topics for this week that we're gonna cover. There's quite a bit of content, so I'm hopefully quite excited for this stream. Hopefully it'll be useful for you guys. And we'll take a look later in a bit. I'll just cover a little bit of my team first, right? Currently this is how I'm lining up. Mitrovic on the bench. We're also gonna go through a little bit of injury update as well, right? Mitrovic is on the bench right now because he is currently. We'll take a look at the quote in a bit, but basically the quote is not convincing that he will start. Right, the quote basically says that it's going to be difficult for him to start. Right, Marco Silva said it's going to be difficult for him to play in game week 25. So I think that's enough. That gives me enough confidence that he's not going to play, so I can leave him on the bench. Obviously, there are other ways I could have gone about it. I could have taken Mitrovic out for maybe Darwin Nunes and included that in my plans. But if you guys watch the team selection video, I made 4 changes. I took a -8, and I'll cover them in a bit, right? But I'll cover the bench first. So Mitrovic on the bench right now. Rashford and Trippier, I want them later on in the game weeks as well. Right, so that's how it's gonna go on the bench. For the starting 11, Kepa, Arrizabalaga in goal. In the back 4 of Trent, Tarkowski, Ben White, and Bueno. And then in midfield, Mahrez, Odegaard, Saka, Salah for now. Salah captain for now. Right, and then up front, Nonto and Haaland. So there's a couple of new additions to the team. Right, so my -4 was actually taking out Luke Shaw, taking out Almiron, taking out Patterson, and also taking out Harry Kane. Basically, Harry Kane was my cash cow, and I've used the funds tied up in Harry Kane to fund all the other moves to bring in Trent Alexander-Arnold, bring in Salah, Nonto, and Tarkowski. So this is how I'm lining up at the moment. 7 doublers. I think this is a pretty strong team for game week 25, but the thing is I've taken a -8, right? So I'm going to need the hits to pay off at this point. The good news for me is that the last time I took a -8, it immediately paid off in the same game week. I know that is that could be a little bit of good fortune there, but what I feel is that in a -8 game week, you don't necessarily look to get a green arrow. right? So I'm not expecting a green arrow this week. A gray arrow I would be happy with, right? So currently this is where I'm at with the team right now. Let's get to the chat. Ben Vlog says, tough question for you. Plan 1, oh, loads of plans. 8, fielding 11 players. Wow. Oh, Magical Man has Salah already. Alright, fair enough. There's an elaborate plan by Ben. Quite elaborate. I think you're gonna have to describe it a little simpler. Alright, I'll move on to the other questions first. Prohan says, would you do Trippier to Tarkowski to afford Fernandes to Salah? It would mean that I have to hold on to Burn and Almiron for another week, but it seems worth it. Now, Trippier out, I don't really like the move, but I understand that there's a lot of funds tied up in Trippier. So, I think the key transfer this week is to bring in Salah, who is probably the most nailed of all the other Liverpool attackers. So if it means that doing Trippier to Tarkowski would allow you to get Fernandes to Salah, I think that's worth it. But if you can find other ways to free up the funds, obviously I would prefer that. Right, but I'm not too happy about having to sell Trippier, right? So if that's the only way, right, then I guess you can do it. I have 10 with 6 doublers. Trippier, Rashford, Estupiñán, and Mitoma all blanking. Should I sell one? I think if you have you have Estupiñán and Mitoma, you could make a case actually to keep both of them, since you already know they're gonna have a double in 27, double in 29. You take the L this week, but later on you're very well prepared. Yeah. Toby's in the chat. Toby's a member as well. I took a -12. Right, that's interesting as well. How many hits have you guys taken this game week? Are you on free transfers? Are you on a -4, a -8, or -12, or even more than that? Right, let me know what you guys are doing for your transfer plans. For my team, I took a -8. Right, I took a -8. Steven says, Patterson and Kane to Darwin and Trent for -8, or Patterson to Coleman for -4. I think I prefer the -8. I prefer the -8. Trent over Robbo, definitely Trent over Robbo. Yeah. Attacking threat wise, definitely Trent has been coming up. His numbers have been improving, right? So I do like the look of Trent. Problem is Liverpool defensively aren't very convincing still, right? Even though they kept a clean sheet against Everton, against Newcastle, I'm still not super convinced. But I brought Trent in, right? Later on, I'll go into more of my transfer plans for the later game weeks to show you guys why I actually brought in Trent instead of Nonto. But basically, I went into a little bit of explanation in the team selection video to show you guys in Game Week 28, I can actually hedge my bets and basically still have enough players to field a decent enough Game Week 28 team, which would allow me to actually save the chip for later on. Right, so we'll go into that in a bit. Gakpo in for Mahrez for a -4. My thoughts is that I feel as a Mahrez owner, I think Mahrez would start. Right, no confirmation here, but I think Mahrez will start. Right, so against Bournemouth away, if you take him out and then he hauls, I mean, you know, I this is obviously guesswork here, but I have a good feeling that Mahrez starts. Basically because he was fully rested against Nottingham Forest. Yes, he played 90 minutes against Leipzig, but if you look at the turnaround, I would actually say that Jack Grealish has played a lot of minutes recently. So what I predict is Jack Grealish to actually be benched against Bournemouth for a rest, Foden in at the left wing, and then Mahrez keeping his place on the right wing because he already missed out one Premier League game against Forest last week. So that's my thoughts on Mahrez. Harry says, is it ridiculous to do Kane, Bruno, Shaw, and White to Darwin, Odegaard, Trent, and Robbo for -8 when you can get Salah and Darwin for Bruno and Kane for free? Kane, Bruno, Shaw, and White to Darwin, Odegaard, Trent, and Robbo. So basically, the difference is you're loading up on Liverpool assets in the other one. I think in your situation, I would actually do Bruno and Kane out, right, for Darwin and Salah. That's basically what I do. I don't think I would take the -8. I don't think it's necessary to load up on so many Liverpool defenders, especially. Right. Michael says Salah captain. We'll go into a little bit of captaincy discussion in a bit. Right. I will switch over to the Discord, right, where most of the members are there. But I'll switch over to the Discord because I posted something today to give a little bit of explanation or a little bit of a deep dive into Saka versus Salah as a captain. We'll take a look at that in a bit. -4, some -8s as well. Interesting. Brought in Trent, Salah and Darwin for -8. Yep. Trent, Salah and Darwin definitely the three best Liverpool assets. So for sure, I would expect a lot of people to be bringing in Trent, Salah and Darwin. I'll make it simpler. Is it worth taking -4 and fielding 10 players to go White to Saka, or is it okay to keep White, Odegaard and Nketiah and play with 11 players? I think it's fine. I think it's fine to keep White, Odegaard and Nketiah and play with 11 players. The thing is, how crucial is Saka? I think if you are captaining Saka, then maybe you can just about justify taking a -4 to get Saka. But if not, I think keeping White, Odegaard and Nketiah could be okay. The thing is, if you are captaining Saka, as I mentioned, then I would take the hit. I could do Kane to Darwin and Fernandes to Salah instead. Yeah, I think Kane and Fernandes to Darwin and Salah seems to be a very popular move this week. And I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm all for Liverpool attackers this week. Anas says, should I get Nunes / Watkins for João Felix? João Felix has a fixture, but if you don't have, it depends how many Liverpool assets you have. I think 2 would be the best. I think 1 in Salah would be too little, in my opinion. So Salah plus Darwin is actually what I prefer for your team. So in that case, then Nunes for João Felix. Right? If you already have Trent, then maybe not. Keep Mopé. I'll probably sell him to fund other moves this week, if you're talking about Mopé. Philip Marshall says, I'm selling Fernandes to Salah and selling Kane. Should I take the risk to get Nunes? Or should I play it safer and go for Watkins? I say you go for Nunes. I think 2 Liverpool players are okay to navigate for Game Week 28. I understand that they can blank in Game Week 28, but I think it is... Okay, we'll go into a little bit of chip strategy discussion, but basically I feel at this point in time that I prefer a free hit 28 to a free hit 29 for a couple of reasons. We'll go into a deeper chip discussion later, but solely because of that, I think having 2 Liverpool players isn't a bad thing, right? So in your situation, I would get Nunes. Patterson, Tony, Shaw to Darwin, Mikalenko, and Tarkowski, I'm assuming, for -4. I wouldn't go for two Everton defenders. I think 1 is more than enough. Tarkowski is more than enough. So Mikalenko, I don't think I would go for Mikalenko. So in that case, you could just do Tony and Shaw to Darwin and Tarkowski. Right, -12s as well. There's quite a bit of. Let's do a poll and see how many hits everyone is taking. What's your plan for Game Week 25? Free transfers. -4, -8, and -12 or more. Let's take a look at the poll. Right, let me know what you guys are doing for Game Week 25. There's free transfers. There's -4, -8, -12, or more. Right, it'll be interesting to see what the results bring. Thinking of doing Gakpo and Mahrez to make it -8. I'm not really that fond of Gakpo to Mahrez this week. I'll be honest. I'm not very fond of them. My thinking of Liverpool defenders over Salah is that if they keep one clean sheet, then all they need is one. Exactly. That's kind of the reason why I've gone with Trent ahead of Darwin as well. I think the ceiling for Trent is so much higher than the ceiling for Darwin Núñez. Darwin Núñez actually scored against he scored last week against Newcastle, right? But he only got 5 points. Now, I know he got taken off before the 60th minute, but I think looking at his bonus points metric as well, he doesn't really choke up a lot of bonus points. So in that sense, I think Trent definitely has the higher ceiling. I understand Liverpool defense may not be looking the best right now, but if they do keep a clean sheet, if they somehow pull it off in either one of the games, I'm probably missing out on maybe 9 to 12 points depending on whether Trent gets an attacking return or not. So in that situation, I don't want to be missing out on those returns. So that's another reason why I've gone for Trent. Took a -4 to bring in Salah and Tarkowski from Mahrez and Rico Lewis. I think those two moves seem okay, right? Any moves to bring Salah in seems justified. Nketiah or Watkins, if I had to choose one this week, I would still go for the Arsenal attacker for the double. Mitrovic and Patterson news. Exactly, right? We're going to take a look at some Mitrovic and Patterson news right now. Okay. Right, I'll get to the chat in a bit. I'll get back to you guys. But let's take a look at some team news, specifically Mitrovic and Patterson. So what we have here is the Marco Silva quote. Right, so when he was previewing the Wolves game, there was pretty much no new team news basically, right? Apart from the fact that, you know, basically what he's saying about Mitrovic doesn't convince me that Mitrovic is going to start, right? He says it will be difficult for him to be ready. Today he was on the pitch outside, let's see. Right? Once again, he says it will be difficult. He had a session outside doing specific work. Right, and then he gives some other team updates that we don't really care about. So basically, when I look at this, I'm not too confident that Mitrovic starts. Right, so if those of you in the chat right now, you're having to start Mitrovic in your starting 11, I think taking a hit to swap him for Darwin Núñez is straightforward enough. Maybe even Watkins is also straightforward enough, right? If you have the funds. So that's on Mitrovic right now. He has been a little bit of a troll, I'm not gonna lie. His points tally since the time I brought him in, which was pretty much after the Crystal Palace game, right after the restart, where he got 15 points. After that, it's just been downhill, like blanks every week. Some weeks he's fit, some weeks he's not. He's like becoming a little bit of a troll. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have on Mitrovic. Right, and for Patterson, so the latest Patterson news is that he has suffered a setback again. Right, so he was coming back from a knee injury. We already knew that, but most recently, right, and this was only posted yesterday. The most recent news is that he suffered a setback, another knock on his knee, and it's kind of delayed him training this week. And basically, the likelihood is that he's not going to feature in game week 25. So that's pretty much Patterson and Mitrovic news. For all the other teams, basically, I don't think there's too much, apart from the fact that I think Klopp did say that Konate is coming back. That could help the Liverpool defense, right? We'll see about that. And also, he did hint at a little bit of rotation, right? So we will have to consider that a little bit as well. But yeah, that's pretty much, I think, the injury news that would be relevant for this week. Right. So let me get back to the chat. -12 this week. Kane to Darwin, Nketiah to Watkins, Andreas to Saka, KDB to Salah. Those look like good moves. Shah, those look like good moves. Best keeper for the upcoming game weeks. I actually want to say Raya. I want to say Raya, but the thing is he blanks this week. Right, so I don't think you get him for this week, but weeks after I think maybe Raya. Damien says free transfers. I think if you are on free transfers, you're pretty much starting the game week on a green arrow. Pretty much. I think most of the engaged FPL managers are going to be taking hits this week. Right, almost guaranteed. -8 for 7 double game week players. One is Bueno. Bueno is... I think you could do worse than have Bueno, to be honest. One... I mean, in the off chance that actually Wolves... that he starts. Let's say he gets 65 minutes and he gets a clean sheet. I think anything beyond... 5 points for Bueno in total, which shouldn't be too difficult. I think I'd be pleased with. They've gone Fernandez to Salah, Cucurella to Tarkowski for -4. Can't afford Trent without a -8 or -12. Right, I decided to send it and not get Salah. Going Darwin, Trent, and Robbo instead. Trent and Robbo means double Liverpool defense. I think that could go either ways. But let's hope that works out. Jasper says, MD says triple captain Saka. FPL boss says Castagna and Shaw to Kilman and Tarkowski for a -8. I don't really like that -8. I'll be honest, I don't really like that -8. Appearance points wise, I think you cover that. But it just doesn't seem like... Because Castagna actually has a fixture this week. Right, so if you're going for 2 points to cover that hit, I think Castagna, maybe Shaw to Tarkowski for a -4. I'd do that. I want to do both. Is it worth taking -8? Yeah. I mean, I took a -8. Patterson. This week, we have to kind of come to the understanding that hits may fly, and it's okay for hits to fly, right? Because a lot of people are going to be taking hits to address the team that they have right now and take advantage of this double game week here to prepare their team moving forward as well. So hits aren't necessarily a bad thing, right? When you consider how long you have for it to pay off, how long these players will be in your team, that these moves can have the chance to basically repay the hit. Patterson to Kilman /Ming /Ake for -8 to fit 11 players. Who is likely more nailed? Ake definitely not someone I would go for. Kilman or Mings, I would go for Kilman for the double this week. What do you think about Kane to Nunes? I like that move, especially if it funds maybe Bruno Fernandes to Salah. Bueno Tarkowski worth a -4. Nah, I wouldn't do Bueno to Tarkowski. Thoughts on Sam Greenwood as an FPL asset? He's not really a starter, to be honest, so definitely not an FPL asset I would consider. How bad is not having Saka when I have Nketiah? Well, it depends if you want to shake up your team just to get Saka, but at this point, I would say that if you are bringing Saka in for a hit to captain him, I think it's worth it to kind of do some rearrangements. But if not, I think you could make a case to go without him, right? But definitely, I would be afraid if I wasn't to go with Saka. Took a -12 and sold Haaland. Brave, that is brave. Selling Haaland isn't the worst thing this week. I've got to say because I've taken a look at the fixtures moving forward as well. And when you consider chip strategy, right, together with that, you can actually sell Haaland. I've seen a couple of combinations there where you can sell Haaland and then use your chip strategy to bring him back later on. You're not selling the best FPL asset at this point in the game forever. You sell Haaland to fund some moves, and then after that, bring him back in with some chip strategies. Exactly what Frederick is talking about in the chat. I'm not opposed to that move. It's just that it doesn't apply to my team. I don't have to do it. Kilman for Shaw. I would do Kilman for Shaw. I would do Tarkowski for Shaw as well. Mahrez, Kane, Shaw, and Lewis out. Salah, Nunes, Trent, Tarkowski in for -8. Looks good. That looks good. Will Robertson play both games this game week? I actually think that we will see a little bit of Tsimikas. So that's just a little bit of my gut feel, but I think we will see a little bit of Tsimikas. Give me a moment. And to be fair, Klopp did hint at a little bit of rotation. So, all right. Saka or Salah captain. Okay, I think it is time that we talk a little bit about. Okay, there's about 80 people on the stream right now. Let's talk a little bit about captaincy before we go into chip strategy. Right, Erwin's in the chat right now as a member. Let me answer the question first. Darwin for Kane worth a -4. I'm already on a -4 and only Salah as a Liverpool asset. I think I would do it. I would do that -4, Erwin. Okay, let's take a look at some in-depth Saka versus Salah captaincy debate. Right, I'm going to present some stats to you guys. We're going to head over to the members Discord, right? So give me a moment. All right. Let's take a look. Okay, so basically where we're at is the members Discord. So what I did today was I posted an in-depth deep dive into Saka versus Salah as a captain. Right, so we're gonna take a look now at some of the statistics some of the stats that basically I compiled, right, to kind of give a little bit of insight as to whether Saka is the better captain or Salah is the better captain. So we're going to go with the common denominators first. Both of them are guaranteed 180 minutes. You look at the numbers from the start of the season, all of the games, basically, when they're fit, they play the full game, right? Maybe 1 or 2 minutes before the full-time whistle. If Saka is maybe nursing a little bit of injury, I know there's a couple of games where he was subbed off slightly early, but in general, we're going to expect 180 minutes for Saka and Salah, right? So that's the first point there, guaranteed 180 minutes. Right, next, they're both on penalties, right? Another thing is, both of them have 1 home and 1 away game each. So we can't really use the argument that, 2 home games for Salah and that's why I captain Salah. Right, so both of them, 1 home game, 1 away game. Now, next thing, right, is that they're both midfielders. So they both get 1 clean sheet point and they also get 1 extra point for the goal compared to a forward. Right, so that is common denominators. But right now, let's take a look at some statistics. Right, so post World Cup versus the last 5 games, right, there is a little bit of a shift. Right, so here we have the post World Cup stats, right, and then here we have the stats from the last 5 games. Right, so the post World Cup stats actually paint a certain picture, and the last 5 games, the stats from the last 5 games also paint a different one. Right, so we're going to go into a little bit of a deep dive into the stats right now. So XG, XA, expected FPL points, big chances, and shots in the box. So for those of you guys who don't really like stats right now, I'll just quickly run through basically what these mean. So for Salah, he's had 2.7 expected goals post World Cup, and he scored 2 goals. So that's an underperformance from Salah. For Saka, 3.19 expected goals and he scored 5. So in essence, in terms of goals, Saka is overperforming by quite a big margin. Right, so that is post World Cup expected goals. For expected assists, I think they are pretty much both similar in terms of the fact that Salah is 2.46, Saka is 2.53. Both of them have 2 assists since the World Cup, since the restart. Right, so in terms of assists, not too different there. In terms of expected FPL points versus the actual points, Salah is at 42.87, and he's gotten 40 points in actuality. So that's a slight underperformance there. But if you take a look at Saka, 46.78 expected FPL points, and his actual points is 56. So basically what we are seeing here is a massive overperformance from Saka. Alright, so at this point, most of the post-World Cup stats tell us one thing, and that's basically that Saka is overperforming his stats a little bit, right? So that is basically the post-World Cup stats, right? So next, let's take a look at the last 5 games though. And the last 5 games actually paint a slightly different picture. So yes, there is still that overperformance from Saka, 2.09 expected goals, but 3 goals in the last 5 games. So there is still that overperformance there. In terms of assists, right, it's still generally the same, right? But the in terms of expected FPL points as well, also a slight overperformance. But one thing I want to focus on here is the shots in the box. So you see post World Cup, shots in the box for Salah and Saka. Salah is at 17, Saka is at 21. Right, so it doesn't seem as if there's such a huge difference in how many shots they're taking post World Cup. But when you look at the last 5 games, you realize that Salah has actually taken only 9 shots in the box the last 5 games, Saka 18. So he is getting shots in the box which are generally better chances than Salah. Right, so that's one thing we need to take note as well. Let me just check the chat for those of you who are... Okay, so at this point in time, that is what we have for the last 5 games. Now, just one last section before we open it up to the floor, before I change the poll and change it to whether we would captain Saka or Salah instead. Basically, there are some other metrics that we can use. Right, so predicted points by the Draft Hound website. There's also Fantasy Football Hub. There's also FPL Review. There's anytime scorer, and there's also anytime assist odds. Right, so we'll take a look one by one. For Draft Hound predicted points, Salah is at 12.7. Saka is at 12.2. Right, so Salah comes up slightly up top there. For Fantasy Football Hub predicted points, Salah is at 12.9 and Saka is at 11.8. So there's a little bit more of a difference here. Fantasy Football Hub actually thinks that Salah will score better. In terms of FPL Review's anytime scorer, Salah is at 68, Saka is at 60. So not too different there in terms of anytime scorer. Anytime assist as well, right? Not too different, 46, 51. Right, so it's mainly the discrepancy here is the big difference that we're seeing here is the expected points from Fantasy Football Hub. Right. Now the last thing I want to talk about is the opposition, right? Because in terms of considering the captaincy, in terms of considering who we want to captain, we need to make sure that the opponents that they're playing are decent as well, or basically easy fixtures there. So opposition defense post World Cup, right? So from game week 17 all the way up till now, game week 25, game week 24, the last game week. For Salah's opponents, Crystal Palace and Wolves basically have 1.8 expected goals conceded per 90 for Crystal Palace, and for Wolves is 1.4 expected goals conceded per 90. So when you compare that to Saka's one, Leicester is actually 1.7 expected goals conceded per 90 post World Cup. And then for Everton, it's a little bit different for Everton because Sean Dyche has come in. Right, so when that happens, there's a little bit of a shift, and we know that defensively they have improved. Right, so what we are seeing here is 1.7 expected goals conceded per 90 pre-Sean Dyche, and then 1.0 expected goals conceded per 90 post-Sean Dyche. So I think there's an uptick in Everton defense that we need to be clear about here. And basically the Everton fixture I don't think is as straightforward as we see it to be, right? So basically in terms of opposition, I think even though Crystal Palace and Wolves can seem to be like a slightly more solid defensive outfit, at the end of the day, I think that Everton fixture puts me off a little bit going for Saka captaincy, right? And the last thing I want to talk about is the opposition chances conceded, right? So basically we're talking about the left flank here. So what we're having here is chances conceded from the left, and basically Salah and Saka, we know both of them operate from the right. Right, so chances conceded, Crystal Palace plus Wolves from the left, 30 chances. For Saka, it's Leicester and Everton, and that's 18 chances. Right, so this is basically all the stats that I've compiled to basically give a little bit more insight as to Should we go for Salah? Should we go for Saka? I mean, it's really close, right? And I want to know what you guys think, right? So we'll go back to the stream layout. I want to know what you guys think in the chat, right? So we'll close the poll for transfers. So it's interesting to see that 41% of you guys are actually on a -8, right? So at the end of the day, the common theme is that a lot of people are taking hits, right? There's -4s, there's -8s, there's -12s. So basically, don't be afraid to take hits this week. That's what I would say. Okay. So captain Saka or Salah. Right, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be interesting. I want to know if you guys are captaining Salah or Saka. Right, once the poll is out, please cast your votes. I mean, I'm gonna add the option of someone else as well, right? But I doubt people would captain someone else, right? So let's take a look at the poll. Okay, the poll is out. Who is your captain for game week 25? Saka or Salah, right? Cast your votes in the poll. Right, this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna stare at the poll change for a bit. Slightly edging towards Salah. 47% for both now. This is interesting. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be so close. 47, and then for others is 5%. This is extremely close. I mean, this is what we expected. Okay, let's get back to some of the questions. But I'll keep a lookout for the poll, and we'll see who people are captaining. Right, for now, after I've read through all the stats that we talked about just now, I'm still just about slightly leaning towards Salah. Right, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the poll goes. Okay, I'll get to some of the questions. I'll try to see where I left off. Will you consider triple captain this week? I would triple captain this week if I still had the chip. Definitely, I still triple captain this week. Saka or Salah captain? Well, we just went through that. Would you consider, should I take a -4 to get rid of Tony or Bueno? Tony doesn't have a fixture, and you probably only want him from game week 27 onwards. So I think selling him, right, for someone who doubles this week, I'm not Tony to Darwin Núñez. I think I would do that. -4 to remove Almiron. Who should I bring in? I have 3 Arsenal players and Salah. Who do you think I can get? The options are pretty limited. I'm not gonna lie. It's the cheap ones, probably McNeil this week. Probably McNeil. For -8, would you do Kane and Mahrez for Salah and Watkins? For a -8, I think getting Salah would be a priority for me, so I think I would. You're just wondering, would you consider Alisson over Edison? I'm just being greedy. Nah, I wouldn't do that. You are being greedy. How do I get Saka or Odegaard in for Martinelli with only 0.5 in the bank? You just gotta find funds elsewhere then. You just gotta sell. You gotta sell other players. Owen says Darwin for Kane worth a -4. Oh yeah, I just answered this. Is Watkins for Mitrovic and Trent for Trippier a good move? I'm not too fond of selling Trippier, I'll be honest. So given that it seems you have some funds because you can do Trent for Trippier, I may actually be tempted to do Mitrovic up to Darwin Núñez. Right, VJ says, what's wrong with Gakpo? I think the thing about Gakpo is I'm not too confident of his minutes. And I prefer Darwin Núñez slightly, right, to Gakpo. Virgil van Dijk, Darwin Núñez and Tarkowski for a -8. I'm assuming going Van Dijk because you don't have enough funds. Nah, I don't think I would go Virgil van Dijk. I wouldn't go Virgil van Dijk. I think the ceiling is just not there with him. Kavit says Saka also on set pieces. That is fair as well. Right, that's another good point. Saka is on set pieces. Salah definitely on lesser of those. Right, that's a good point from Kavit. Kane and Shaw to Darwin and Trent for -8. Yep, I would do that. I have Gabriel, Odegaard, and Nketiah. I'm thinking of sacking Nketiah for Darwin, but I'm not sure if I should do all of that. Interesting. Maybe not. I mean, since you are not captaining him, maybe not, right? If you have Salah and you're going to captain Salah, maybe I wouldn't do that. Anderson says, I triple captain Salah this week. Fair enough. Fair enough. Getting rid of Kane is so tough because of how consistent he's been. Exactly, but the problem is I cannot justify keeping Kane when the funds that he releases when we sell him allows us to do so much more and get so much doublers. I think that's mainly one of the reasons why I think selling Kane as bad as it sounds, as much as we want to keep Kane, I think we have to be able to part with that, I think. Hanifza says, hi Leon, currently no hit, 10 players and 7 doublers. Should I go for McNeil for a hit? I may be tempted. The thing is, the hit will pay off because you only have 10 playing players. The hit will pay off even just with appearance points. But what do you want to keep that player for a while, right? That's the thing. What do you want to keep McNeil for a while? If you're alright with that, then alright. Manish says, I free hit. Right, if you free hit, you will have to consider that later on, there will be a couple of game weeks which may be quite tough, but yeah, if you free hit, build the best team, right? I have a free hit video out. In that video, I think I have Gakpo. I would change that to Darwin Núñez now because Darwin Núñez is now fit. When I made the video, Darwin Núñez had that shoulder injury. Harry says, what are your thoughts on Klopp's comments regarding rotation? Yeah, I did read that, and I think we just take it with a pinch of salt. That's my thoughts. I think we take it with a pinch of salt. I do expect we see some rotation, right? Their fixture schedule is quite tight, I have to say, but I think we take it with a pinch of salt. Players like Robertson, I would say, is slightly more at risk because of how decent a replacement Tsimikas is. But if you're talking about Trent, I think Milner isn't as great a replacement. So I'm slightly more confident of Trent's minutes after that comment. Start Perisic or Badiashile. I would start depends if you have Kepa. If you have Kepa, I wouldn't double on the Chelsea defense. Would you consider bringing in Trent and Salah or Darwin and Salah? That's an interesting one. So the second Liverpool asset, right? Would you prefer Trent or would you prefer Darwin? Now that's another really close debate for this week. Early thoughts is that the earlier thought that I had in the week was that I really wanted Trent, right? Because his ceiling is greater. But then again, Liverpool's defense haven't been great, right? So if you're going for Darwin, you can kind of argue that you would keep him against teams like Manchester United, where there's an off chance that he can get a return, right? So I think there's good and there's bad for going for either of them, and you basically have to weigh up. For me, what I weighed was how my team would look overall because of that transfer. And by going for Trent, I was able to get Nonto, who I may want to use in Game Week 28, right? So basically, I think it's more, you can consider the surrounding things, aside from the fact that we're just selecting a second Liverpool asset. I have my triple captain chip. What do you think? You think Captain Salah right now or Tony in his upcoming double? I would be tempted to triple cap this week. I think I would rather triple cap either a Liverpool or an Arsenal player than Ivan Toney in Game Week 27. Right, so I'll probably use it this week. I'm on a free hit. Which should I go for between Mahrez, Grealish, or Foden? Mahrez. I would go Mahrez. Dean Eaton already taken a -4. Thinking of Kane and Patterson to Darwin and Trent for -12. Yes, I would do that. I would do that. Yep. -8 from Mahrez, Kane, Shaw, Tony to Salah, Nunes, Tarkowski, and Watkins. Basically, I'm just gonna be saying that any move that includes bringing in Salah, whether it's a -4, a -8, or a -12, right, will be a good decision. Specifically because Liverpool players this week, I think will pop off. I don't mind tripling up on them if I could even. Is Gakpo a good captaincy choice? I don't think I would captain Gakpo. I wouldn't go there. My team is Pickford, Tarkowski, Trent, Cody, Salah, Saka captain, Odegaard. Interesting. That looks like a good team. It looks like a good team. Is Nunes and Kilman for Mitrovic and Shaw a good move for a -4 hit? Yes. Nunes for Mitrovic, I would do that. Start Matip or Gomez, I would start. If you have both, Gomez is a little bit injured if I'm not wrong, so maybe Matip. I think we see Matip a little bit more than Gomez. Especially now Konate has come back. I actually think both of them are at risk. Should I get Watkins for Mitro? I think Watkins for Mitro, Nunes for Mitro, all good moves. Can I take Mikalenko instead of Tarkowski for the budget? 0.1 difference, right? I just prefer Tarkowski because of the aerial threat. I think even if they don't keep a clean sheet, I'm more confident of Tarkowski getting maybe a bullet hitter or something. Right, so, but if you're stuck for budget, I think you don't really have much of a choice. Bruno, KDB, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Botman out for Salah, Trent, Gakpo, and Mikalenko for -8. Yeah, I think that works. I mean, as I said, any move that's a -4, a -8 that brings in Salah or just tries to free up funds for Salah and more Liverpool players, basically, I think you justify it. Is the deadline in 2 or 3 hours? As of now, the deadline is in 2 hours' time. The problem is I'm hesitating about taking out Tony for a -4. That is fair. Right, there aren't a lot of options below the 7.0 bracket for attackers this week. I'm gonna be honest. I even considered at one point, right, one of the days that I was tinkering leading up to this game week, whether I wanted to bring in the Wolves attacker Cunha, and I think I just about shied away from that and went for Nonto instead. Where do KDB, Kane, and Shaw to Nunes, Salah, and Trent for -4? Yeah, I will do that. Jeff, that looks like a good move. Triple Liverpool. One of the guys in the private league said he's taken a minus 16. A minus 16 seems a lot. But he's taken out Trippier as well though. Man. My team is Pickford, Trent, Tarkowski, Dawson, Saka captain. Range. Let's take a look at the pool now. I mean, that's what we have. 48% Salah, 45% Saka, and 7% others. My gosh. This is... If the swing is brutal this week, I'm not gonna... It's just gonna be one of the worst 50-50 swings we're gonna see this season. I'm hoping that we don't see too much difference. That's my honest opinion. I think we both see them score about 10-ish points, double digits. Hopefully, and hopefully then whichever we go for, it wouldn't be too bad. My team. Sugar Bender says, "Hey mate, I'm sorry I'm late. 5 a.m. here in New Zealand. Wow, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. I already have 3 Arsenal, but I really want Saka. What are your thoughts on De Bruyne and White to Trent and Saka?" Actually, I do like that move, to be honest. White to Trent and getting... Yeah, I would do that. Sugar Bender, I would do that. I mean, would you do Shaw to Tarkowski for -4 gives me an extra player in Game Week 25 plus Game Week 28 and Game Week 26 Nottingham Forest away. But I want Shaw Game Week 9. I think Shaw to Tarkowski this week, I would do that move. Yep, because Nottingham Forest away in Game Week 26 is a fixture that you want Tarkowski, and then you can bring Shaw in later on. Chips will come into play. Is taking -8 for Rashford, Mitrovic, Shaw to McNeil, Nunes and Trent a good move? Rashford is a doubt, right? Based on yesterday's some news that's come out that said that he's a little bit injured. But I think taking him out, I would assume we have a lot of value locked up in him, or depending on when you brought him in. And you already want him back the next game week. I don't think you take him out. How are you planning for the upcoming double game weeks? All right, let's take a look at the FPL.team transfer planner. Right, so I prepared this to get ready for the chip strategy portion. So this is my team, basically pre-changes made. All right, so I'm gonna log in the changes right now. Give me a moment. Right, I'm going to log in the changes right now. So what I made, the -8 that I took this week was to take Shaw out for Trent. Right, this one has Alexander-Arnold. Okay, so Shaw, Trent, Alexander-Arnold. Trippier is on the bench. I did Patterson to Tarkowski as well. Right, okay, so that's my back line, Ben White and Bueno. So as of now, it's already 2 free transfers used up. Now the other moves that I made was Kane down to Nonto. And Almiron up to Salah. Right, so basically this was what I did this week. So currently, this is how the team looks like, exactly as we saw just now, right, on the FPL website, the official FPL website. Right, so I'm gonna fast forward now to Game Week 26. So basically, this is where Tarkowski comes in as well. Right, for those of you who mentioned Tarkowski, this is where he comes in. I'm gonna use him in Game Week 26 as a starter as well. Probably gonna play Mahrez. I don't intend to use any chips or whatsoever until maybe 28, 29. So for now, this is it, right? 26 I'm gonna roll. I'm not sure how I'm gonna line up. I won't make any changes, but I may have to start Trippier against Man City. Nonto, I bench him for Mahrez, and it's probably gonna look something like this, and maybe captain Saka, right, against Bournemouth. So something like this for Game Week 26, I think it's good enough. Come to Game Week 27, couple of things I'm gonna do. I want Ivan Toney, I want Mitoma. It's either Mitoma or McAllister, and then I would want Estupinian as well. So, couple of ways I can do this. And one of the permutations that I have in mind right now is to sell Mahrez for Mitoma. So Mahrez for Mitoma frees up a lot of money for me, right? So then I can do Bueno up to, this is Game Week 27 by the way, right? Double for Brighton, Brentford, Southampton, and Crystal Palace, right? So Mitoma in for Mahrez, that's one move, one free transfer used. Bueno up to Estupinian, who I think is really gonna bang this week, in Game Week 27, right? And then I will want Ivan Toney as well, so that's where Mitrovic comes in. I'm gonna do Mitrovic out for Ivan Toney. So that's a -4 for Game Week 27, right? So and how I would line up, it's likely, I mean, if you see already in Game Week 27, it's gonna be quite a benching headache, right? They all have pretty decent fixtures, especially Liverpool against Bournemouth away, right? So I'm gonna keep them here. Rashford at Southampton. This week is also gonna be another tough captaincy shout, right? Because Rashford, Saka, Salah, Haaland all have good single game week fixtures, and then there's Ivan Toney who comes into the mix as well, who can be a decent captaincy shout. So I would imagine that Game Week 27 captaincy would also be another swing. So at this point, Game Week 27, maybe I bench White, right? And it could look something like this in Game Week 27. So come to Game Week 28, what I'm gonna do, there's a really cool feature on FPL.team by the way. So you can just click set projected fixtures, this purple icon here, and basically what it does, as you guys can see here, the Game Week 28 fixtures are all filled, but as we know, it's going to be a blank game week. So you just click this fixture, you just click this button, and all the fixtures are removed. And what they've done is they basically kept the Wolves game, but what I want to do is for the event, or for the scenario, that Wolves and Leeds blank instead, which is what all of us want. All of us want Wolves and Leeds to blank, and we want Liverpool and Fulham to, right, let's see where they've put the fixture. Right, here. They want Liverpool and Fulham to go ahead in Game Week 28. Everyone wants this, right? So I've put it back into Game Week 28 now. This is how the team can look like in Game Week 28 without any changes made. So it's looking like this for Game Week 28. If Liverpool play Fulham, if that game happens. So then that is me in Game Week 28 here, with already 8 playing players. Now, one of the moves I think I would do, right, I understand that Ivan Toney doubles in Game Week 29 as well, but the thing is that 29 double, to me, doesn't seem that great of a double. Brighton and Manchester United, that doesn't seem like a great double. So what I may do in this particular game week, just to get one more playing player, is actually Ivan Toney's Watkins. That's my one free transfer for Game Week 28. Currently what I'm thinking of. And then I will have 9 players for Game Week 28. I think anywhere between 7 to 9 players anywhere between 7 to 9 players for Game Week 28 I think is fine. And then come to Game Week 29, this is the big double, right? So I have a choice here whether I want a free hit in 28 if I need to, or I want a free hit in 29 to take advantage of the big double, right? The big double Game Week 29. And for Game Week 29, the initial thoughts is that I think I would sell Salah, right, for Maddison, but Maddison is currently injured, right? But the initial thoughts is that I would sell Maddison, and I would also want, right, let me bring in all the double Game Week players first. So the plan is that I sell Salah to fund Manchester United assets for game week 29. So I may have to take another -8 here. But essentially, who I want is the triple Manchester United back in my team again. So as you guys can see here, I just took out Odegaard for Fernandes. And then I want Luke Shaw. So anywhere, any player can I have a lot of money, right? 7.1. So I can just do up to Tarkowski, up to Shaw. So loads of doublers here. And the main problem for game week 29 would actually be the Arsenal and Man City games. The Arsenal game is actually Leeds at home. So those of us who are actually free hitting in game week 29, I would imagine that if you are free hitting in game week 29, you may have to have a couple of single game week players, especially players like Saka. Haaland, I think you can just about justify to go without him, but he plays Liverpool at home, who are so bad defensively. Right, I know I have Trent, but I also am aware of how poor Liverpool are defensively. So, yeah. So, game week 29 is probably going to be a tough week in terms of singles and doubles. For my team, I think a -8 I can get here. So, essentially, my whole plan right now seems as if I don't have to take a hit. Even if back in 28, I'll reverse these moves. Even if we moved back to game week 28, and as I mentioned, I put the Liverpool and Fulham game back in. But let's say they blank, right? Let's say they blank, and let's say that Wolves and Leeds actually is the one that happens. Then this is the reason why I've gone for Nanto this week, so that Nanto has a fixture as well. So once again, I keep that same change that I made, which is Ivan Toney to Watkins in game week 28. And there we go. I think this is fine. Right? So if I want, I can take a hit to bring in another player that plays in 28 and 29 as well. But in general, this is what I can get to. Right, so early thoughts, a lot of information. I hope it was clear enough, but that is currently what I'm thinking, right, for my team moving forward into game week, all the way until game week 29, I think. Right, so hopefully that was useful for you guys. Went on a little bit of a tirade. Okay, so let me get back to some of the questions. What do you think about Kane long term? I think it's time to sell Kane, but I have seen some teams who have managed to keep Kane and also get Salah in. So that would be, if you can do that, that would be great. Is it worth to use the bench boost in game week 27? 5 double game week fixtures. I wouldn't say so. I would think that you use it either in 29 or 34. But at this point, I'm favoring 34 a little bit more. I'm favoring bench boost 34 a little bit more. Couple of reasons for that actually. One of it is that the double in game week 34 is going to be big. Is smaller than the double in 29 that we're gonna have. But the thing is, the bigger teams double there, right? So that's what I like about game week 29 bench boost. Game week 34 bench boost instead of game week 29. Any takes on Nanto? Yeah, I think Nanto, I have him in my team. I think he's fine. And I actually think that he will be useful for me in game week 28, basically. So let's see how it goes. Would you get 3 Liverpool in for -4? Yes, I would. Changing to Salah, but Odegaard is at the back of my mind, okay? Should I transfer in Kilman or Coleman for a -4? I prefer... If you already have Tarkowski, then Kilman. Is it worth a free hit in 28 if you have 8 players who will be in that free hit team and build strategies with a bench boost 29? Alright, so I did think a little bit about the difference between a free hit. I did think a little bit about the difference between a free hit 28 and a free hit 29. My thoughts are that the game week 28 free hit actually leaves your team better for the fixtures moving forward after that, which is something that I think not a lot of people consider. A lot of people think that, wow, game week 25, game week 29 is a great double game week because there's so many doublers. I can come in, have the best 11 players for that game week when I free hit, and the upside is so great. I appreciate all those things, but I think something we need to consider also is how the team looks like after it reverts back to your original team moving forward. Would you be better off free hitting in a lower ceiling game week, which is free hit 28, or would you be better off free hitting in 29 and then reverting back to your team after that? So that's something that I would consider. I think at this point right now, even though the ceiling for game week 28 free hit isn't as high as that for game week 29, I would say that I just about prefer how my team looks after I free hit in 28 versus after I free hit in 29. Right, so just a little bit chip strategy right there. Ashmit says, hi Leon, a little bit late to the stream today. Can I get Darwin and Tarkovsky? I can get Darwin and Tarkovsky for free, but if I add Salah, I have to take a -8 and sell Kane. I don't really want to sell Kane. What do? I'm not opposed to selling Kane. That's the thing. I sold Kane myself. And I think one of the main reasons why selling Kane can just about be justified, right, is basically that what he allows you to do with the cash after that is just so worth it, especially if you are captaining Salah. Especially if you're captaining Salah, I would sell Kane for funds to get to Salah. Alright, wait, I just received a notification. I think we just hit 3,500 subscribers. Let me pull up the thank you guys for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. We've just hit 3,500, which was the target for February. So we're almost at the end of February. We are sitting at 3,500 subscribers just as we speak right now on the stream. Right, so thank you very much for subscribing. For those of you who are watching still, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, drop a like on the stream as well, and hopefully we can grow the channel right to together. All right, so back to the questions. There's a lot of questions in the stream, so I'll try to get to as much questions as I can. Tony is in a my team is Kappa. Okay, for the team questions, I think it's easier you ask me questions like would you sell Kane for Salah, or basically would you do Kane plus Bruno Fernandes to Salah and Darwin worth a -4? These kind of structures is pretty much a little bit easier for me to answer compared to looking at the whole team. I don't have enough budget to bring Salah in. What do you think about Gakpo? I think definitely Gakpo cannot cover Salah. In terms of minutes already, he's not as nailed, right? And definitely he doesn't have pens. He doesn't have a lot of other things that Salah has. So that is something that I think you have to consider. Definitely he wouldn't cover Salah, right? And you go in knowing that. %50 Salah, 44% Saka. Thank you for informing me. Right, we are currently on 50% Saka. This is very interesting. 200 votes already. And 50% Salah, sorry. 43% Saka though. Right, so it is still close. How many non-blank and doublers needed for this game week? I think this particular game week, 3 Arsenal, 2 Liverpool, and maybe 1 of Wolves or Everton. So that would be 3 plus 2 plus 1. So that'll be 6. I think 6 doublers is fine. Right, so that says Kane to Darwin for -4. Yes, I would do it. Free hit in Game Week 28 is a must. Sashin says, free hit in Game Week 28/29 is a must, as I'm worried about missing out on points that others can gain. Leaning towards a Game Week 29 free hit as I'm tripled up on Arsenal. That is fair. I think the key strategies right now, or the more popular strategies right now, free hit 28/29, and then walk cut 33, bench boost 34. That's one popular one. Another popular one that has come up recently is walk cut 27, free hit 28, bench boost 29. And then you're pretty much screwed for the next few game weeks. You're pretty much screwed for 32, for 34, 37. You wouldn't be able to capitalize as much on those games. But the thing is, you would be very, very well off in the first few game weeks that you are using your chips, obviously, right? So that's one of the strategies. But Sachin, I think in terms of the free hit in 28 and 29, I understand I appreciate that 29 is a great game week to free hit. But as I mentioned, I think we need to consider before and after as well, the team you're reverting back to. Right, what's your thoughts on FPL? Josh says, what's your thoughts on Mitchell out for -4? I have 7 mil. Who would you recommend? I mean, as I mentioned, it's really so bad. The options below 6, the options below 6 mil, 7 mil for forwards is pretty poor. It's pretty poor. Leo Cheng says, is free hit 28 and walk cut 29 the most popular idea now? I think free hit 28 is pretty popular. Walk cut 29 is actually not a very popular idea now, because one of the reasons why I wouldn't walk cut in 29 is, even though it's after an international break, the problem with a walk cut 29 is that you have to have the future fixtures in mind. And when that happens, I don't think you can capitalize as much on the doubles in that week. Right. Anis says, do you think Mahrez will play? I think Mahrez will play. Thoughts on Darwin captain? I think that's a little bit risky. Ashton's in the chat. Right, good morning. Is it worth to take a -8 to go Kane and Bueno to Darwin and Trent? Right, I'm really behind in the chat, so I try to catch up. Is it worth to take a -8 to go Kane and Bueno, Darwin and Trent? Yes, I would do that. Is it better Nonto to Darwin or Shaw to Trent, as I have Salah but I don't want to triple up? If I had a choice between Trent and Darwin, I still feel like Trent has a higher ceiling than Darwin. Right, that's still my thoughts. Thank you guys for all the kind words. Really, really appreciate that. Alright. Ashmit says congratulations, totally deserve it. Thank you very much for your support. Alright, Ashton as well. Who should I take out? FPL Josh, I think Mitrovic, anything below 6 or 7 is really, really not great options, to be honest. Selling Kane hurts my heart, says Irvin. I completely understand it. I mean, it is justified. Ashton says it's very hard for anyone to be answering questions because it depends on chip strategy and team layout. That is 100% correct. Right? A lot of the questions or the players that you're bringing in have to be dependent on your own strategy. So for myself, because I know I may not want to free hit in 28, I've brought in Nonto and I have Bueno as well, and then I have Trent and Salah. So however the Fulham versus Leeds FA Cup game turns out, I will have 2 more players on top of Trippier, Tarkowski, triple Arsenal and Chelsea. Right, so that's kind of hedging my bets there, and then maybe I don't free hit in 28. Maybe I don't free hit in 29 as well, who knows? And then after that, maybe 37. Maybe 37 I free hit, right? Let's see. But I haven't firmed up my chip strategy. I've made my transfers this week to leave it a little bit more up in the air. Would you rather take out Martinelli or Nketiah? I have 2.2 extra cash and 2 other Arsenal players already. Nketiah has better replacements, but Martinelli minutes risk. I would keep Nketiah, to be honest. If I had him this week, I would keep Nketiah. Tony is in amazing form, plus his fixtures are Wolves and Southampton. Don't you think that is better in his form plus penalties than Salah right now? I would still just about captain Salah. I mean, this could be a little bit of the thinking where Salah is the best FPL asset to ever exist in the past few seasons. It's a little bit of that coming in for sure, I wouldn't deny. But I just think triple captaining Tony is not something I would do. It's a little bit punty, I feel. Akanji to Tarkowski for a -4. I mean, it's the whole City defenders problem again, right? No one is nailed. Akanji to Tarkowski. I may be tempted to gamble, to be honest. Gamble that Akanji starts. Desmond says subbed. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for subscribing. Which game week do you think would be the most difficult to navigate if you don't have a free hit, and what would you do if you've already used your free hit? If you've already used your free hit, assuming you still have your wildcard, I would take advantage of the blanks to dead end my team there and then wildcard out of it after that. I think that would be the strategy. VJ says, many congrats, onwards and upwards. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate every one of you guys tuning in. Right, really appreciate it. And supporting the channel. Like, it means a lot to me. Is it still a good double game week for Brentford, Fulham, Manchester United after game week 29? After game week 29, we do have an idea of who will double. I mean, we can have a look at the Ben Crellin fixture ticker. But I think currently, for this particular game week, you don't have to think so far. I think you focus on bringing in Liverpool assets first, I think. OI says, I've used 2 free transfers, Ake and KDB, to Salah and Tarkowski. Would you also use a -4 to do Reece James to Trent or Robbo? Wow, that's a tough one. I think just about. I think just about worth it to do Reece James to Robbo. Oh, Reece James to Trent, I'm sorry. But the thing is, it may sound a little bit crazy to sell Reece James when we know how good an asset he has been. But one thing I want to say about Reece James is that his minutes are going to be managed moving forward as well. They're going to be very careful with him. Right, so because of that, I would say that taking out Reece James isn't as bad as it seems, like right off the cuff. Best replacement for Martinelli, I have Saka, Odegaard, Salah, Rashford. Already 2.2 extra cash. Mara is an option. Or Mitoma, Almiron for future. I need to take an Arsenal player out. Martinelli is 6 point something. 2.2 extra cash means that you have about 8 point something. Maybe Gakpo. Maybe. Robertson versus Kilman versus Coleman. I already have Tarkowski. If you already have Tarkowski, then I wouldn't go for Coleman. Robertson, it really depends if you already have Darwin and Salah. If you do, then I would go for Kilman. Moment says -12 or wildcard or free hit. I'll try to save chips this week, to be honest. -12 I think is fine to take as well. Arnie says, congratulations on your subscription numbers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Whoever you guys bring in, make sure you have placeholders for Tony and Mitoma for double game week 27, assuming you guys free hit 28. Yep, that makes sense. Still haven't decided if I should go for Trent or Shaw. Trent for Shaw or Darwin for Nonto. Can't triple up as I have Salah. This is going to be a tough one, right? High Rock definitely is a tough one. Alright, so the captaincy poll right now that we have is 237 votes. 50% is on Salah, 42% is on Saka, 7% on others. I don't know. What do I... I'm still pretty set on Saka captaincy, I would say. Still pretty set on Saka captaincy. Sorry, Salah captaincy. Oh, by the way, the FPL website has come up with this really interesting upgrades where they include the XG and XA for that particular match. So you can actually see whether your player is over or underperforming in the FPL app itself already. So a really, really cool upgrade. Very cool upgrade. But yeah, pretty much I think I will captain Salah. Salah or Saka. It is tough, it is tough. Yeah, alright. I think Salah. I think Salah. It is very, very close. I'm hoping this swing isn't that bad, but I'm gonna go with Salah. I'm pretty much locked it in. Yeah, I'm not gonna change it already. Swing a little bit, but I kind of expect myself to change here and there, but I think Salah is the one. Yeah. Oh, make tripling up Liverpool this week a priority. Yeah, for sure. Alright, so I think this is pretty much it. We've streamed for quite a while now. I think we have streamed for about an hour and a half, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, an hour and a half, right? So thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, let me know what you guys are doing in the comments down below after the stream or in any of the videos, and I'll see if I can continue to help you guys. For the members and for the patrons, I'm going to be heading over to the Discord to chat with you guys there, and we'll see. Maybe we discuss a little bit more on Saka versus Salah captaincy. We'll see about that. Right, but I think that's pretty much where we're going to leave the stream today. We're going to wrap it up. If you guys have any more questions, put it in the chat and we'll see if we can get to the questions. Patterson to Bueno for a -8. I would not do that. I would not do that. BJ says, great stream. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ashton says Salah. Alright, so that's pretty much it. There we go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys in more Game Week 26 content. I think Game Week 26 is going to be one of the weeks where everyone's just going to roll in preparation for Game Week 27, unless you are wildcarding in Game Week 27, right? But aside from that, I think that is pretty much it. That is pretty much it for Game Week 25. Focus on bringing in Liverpool players, that's what I would say, and be not afraid to take hits. -4, -8, -12, all worth it. Depending on the players you bring in, that is. Alright, so that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to call it a day. Alright, all the best for Game Week 25. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in more Game Week 26 content. So all the best for Game Week 25, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Bye-bye.